Hi guys. Today I'm going to share with you a method, a very quick and I hope easy method for improving your writing skills in English. More specifically, improving your ability to revise your writing in English. Um, I know all of you have to write in English. And for most of you, it's not your native language. And so it can be really intimidating, kind of scary at times to write, just to write anything. And then sometimes, you look at what you've written and you say, oh my God, this makes no sense, or this is horrible, this sounds bad. Why does it sound bad? And you don't know what to do, what you can do to make it better, to make the writing stronger, to make it clearer. So I'm going to show you a method for doing that. And the method comes from this book. This book. It's called Revising Prose, and it's by a guy named Richard Lanham. Okay. And I was assigned to read this book when I was at university, and it changed my life. Okay, maybe it didn't change my life really, but it changed my way of thinking about writing and how to make my writing clearer. Okay, so the method that Lanham talks about is called the Paramedic Method. So this is the title of my presentation. The Paramedic Method, How to Bring Your Dead Sentences Back to Life. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Joe Lennon, and I teach English and writing at the Language Center at Masaryk University. So I know you guys know who I am, but remember in your presentations to introduce yourself. Okay. So let's start with an example, a sentence. Okay, and I want to ask you, how does this sentence sound to you? Okay, so I'm going to give you a second. I want you to read it out loud. Read the sentence out loud and tell me what you think. Okay. Um, so I'm going to read it out loud, and I'm going to sort of exaggerate uh, the way the sentence sounds in my head when I read it, because I want you to try to hear what I hear when I read a sentence like this. A decrease in the use of plastic straws by Czechs was observed in 2018 in comparison with 2017. Um, I don't know about you, but it doesn't sound good to me. Okay, it has this sort of annoying, repetitive rhythm. Like I feel like I'm coughing or being, have hiccups or something. It seems like it's way more complicated than it needs to be. So the question is why? What makes it sound that way? And Richard Lanham has a diagnosis for this type of sentence. So in his book, he criticizes what he calls the official style, which is sort of a bureaucratic way of writing, which we tend to use without thinking, without realizing. Here's another example, and I'll read this to you again, so hopefully you can hear the the sort of problem with this type of sentence. One of the most important results of the presentation of data is the alteration of the status of the elements of the discourse. Huh? What? First of all, what does it mean? And second of all, it sounds horrible, right? Hopefully, it sounds bad to you, as bad as it does to me. The question is why? You know, what makes these sentences bad? And maybe also you can recognize that this type of sentence, it does sound to doesn't it sound sort of academic? Doesn't it sound professional? So why, on one hand, it sounds academic, it sounds professional. On the other hand, it's not clear. It sounds horrible. So what's the problem here? What's causing this problem, and why do we associate academic professional writing with this type of writing? Okay, Lanham thinks the problem is that it takes actions which could be represented by verbs. Verbs are the normal way to represent actions, right? But this type of writing turns them into nouns instead. And these nouns, which could be verbs are called nominalizations. Okay. Using nominalizations is fine. Everybody uses nominalizations. The problem is if you use too many of them. Okay, and what that does is makes you have to use also a lot of prepositions and a lot of passive constructions, and these types of things make your sentences long and complicated. Right? So luckily, Richard Lanham has the diagnosis. He also has the remedy for this, and his remedy, he calls it the Paramedic Method. And remember, this is for revising your writing. So you've written your first draft. It looks bad to you. You want to know how to make it better. So go sentence by sentence. This is what Lanham recommends. Take a sentence and first of all find the prepositions of, on, at, these types of words. Number 2, find the to be verbs, is, was, are, these types of things. And then finally, not finally, but then find the nominalizations, these words that could be verbs, but they're nouns. And you should ask, where's the main action? Where is the action? And also, who's doing the action? Okay? Write this action as a verb and rewrite the sentence around the main verb. Sorry, I know there that you can't see some of my words. They're behind my face there. So when that happens, I'll try to tell you what's behind my face there. Okay, so I want to show you really quickly how to do this method. Let's try it with the sentence that we saw at the beginning. So you remember that sentence. First, we got to find the prepositions. So I'll give you 15 seconds. Look for the prepositions. If we were doing this in class, I would have you circle them on the piece of paper or highlight them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I count 6 prepositions, and here they are. Okay. The next is find the to be verbs. Okay. And I think we only have one of those. That was there, right? Now we find the nominalizations, and I'll give you a bit of time to find these. I see 1, 2, 3. Where are my nominalizations? These are words that could be verbs, but they've been turned into nouns. Okay, I think it's these 3: decrease, use, comparison. Okay. Now we get to the good parts. Where's the main action? What's happening in the sentence? Where's the main action? We should find it and write it as a verb. Well, we do have a verb, observed. Okay, so is this our main action? I guess so. But we have a sort of problem. The main verb is observed, but we don't know, because it's passive construction. So we don't know who observed this. Okay, the verb is missing a subject. Right? So what do we do about that? We have to decide. Is it important to say who did this? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. If it's important to say who observed this plastic straw trend, then we need to add a subject. So I just made up Mr. Novak. Yeah, it's our subject. So we have a decrease in the use of plastic straws by Czechs was observed by Novak in 2018 in comparison with 2017. Okay. The problem now is we've added one more preposition. We've made the sentence even longer. You might agree with me that we've made it sound even worse because it's longer, more prepositions. But that's okay because now we have our main subject, we have our main verb, and if you remember the first meta-language quiz, which should come first? Ideally, our subject should come first. If we rearrange the sentence, try to get rid of as many prepositions, as many nominalizations as possible, we might come up with this. Novak observed that Czechs used fewer plastic straws in 2018 than in 2017. And you'll notice that I was able to get rid of most of the prepositions. We still have 2 ins there, but all the other prepositions are gone. And I don't know. What do you think? To me, it sounds better. Um, but the other way we could go is we could decide that to say that the trend was observed, it's not important. It's simply not important. So we can choose a different main verb. Okay. Instead, I'm going to say, actually, the main action is that Czechs used fewer plastic straws in 2018 than in 2017. So I've changed the subject, changed the main verb, but still tried to follow the paramedic method of Lanham, get rid of those prepositions and nominalizations. And there are other ways you could do it as well. So you have to think outside the box. Try to reimagine the sentence in a different way. So what do you think? Here are the two sentences, the original in gray and the new one in green. What can I say? I like the green one much better. It's shorter, it's clearer. I don't think we've lost any meaning or any important meaning, in my opinion, from making the change, but we've had to reimagine the sentence, redesign it around a verb rather than all these nouns. Okay. So I want to know what you guys think. Now, every year I tell my writing classes about this paramedic method, and it creates a lot of debate because some of my students say, okay, Joe, yeah, great, you've showed us this way of writing. It's clearer, it's better, I agree, but we can't write that way. We can't write like that. If we did that, if we turned in this like simple, plain sounding thing, first of all, we wouldn't meet the word count. You know, we have to have 500 words, and so helps us to have more words. Second, our teachers would say, this doesn't sound professional, this doesn't sound academic. So what do you think? Lanham recognizes that in his book. He says, I know that, if you turn in something like this, you might get a lower grade. People might tell you this doesn't sound professional. But he says he thinks you should ignore those people or at least try to make them see that writing doesn't have to use all these extra words, all these nominalizations. It can be clearer, it can be quicker. But what do you think? You think it's better to take your chances and try to write in this way, or is it better just to do what will make our supervisors happy? And this leads to some bigger questions. What is the purpose? Why are we writing? What's the purpose of academic writing? And another interesting question is, does the way we revise, the way we write, the way we revise, does that affect the way we think, the clarity of our thinking, or the process of our thinking? Lanham thinks that it does, but it's something interesting to think about. Okay, I'm gonna finish there. Obviously, if we were really in the classroom, which I hope we will be one day again, then I would like to hear your questions, your thoughts, and I would spend a few minutes answering your questions and debating. We can't do that. So I'm going to leave you with just a reference to the book by Lanham, which I really recommend, and then a couple links to more practice with this, and maybe better explanations than I gave you. Who knows? So if you're still confused after my beautiful presentation, then you can look up these other links. And that's it. I'm going to stop there. So thanks for listening, and I hope you're all staying safe and staying indoors and staying productive. So bye.